Welcome back, everybody, to Touring the Hudson Valley, and I have an exciting episode for you guys today. I'm jumping out of my seat with all the questions that I have. Right here, I am sitting with Amanda Winters from Hudson River Midwives, and we have a jam-packed episode for you guys today. Very, very excited, very, very thrilled. Thank you, Amanda, for doing this, taking the time. You are busy, and I understand that, so I really want to thank you for doing this.
I'm so happy I get to do it with you. Thank you so much.
We'll start off right at the top, and I want you to really break it down. Basically, like if you were speaking to a kid here, what it is that you do here. How did you got into this business? Any kind of information before we get started.
I am a licensed midwife here in New York State, and that means I can provide care to women across the lifespan, starting at adolescence, doing contraceptive care, well woman care visits, prenatal care during childbearing years, and then as the lifespan continues, doing menopause care, hormone replacement therapy, and general wellness care, screening health concerns like pap smears, mammograms, those kinds of things for women. We also provide urgent care. So we can do STI treatment, we can do bladder infection, antibiotic, yeast infection care, general cold and flu concerns, strep throat, any kind of wellness and illnesses that women experience.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. Okay. My question for you first then is, it does sound like you're almost replacing the role of traditional hospital and traditional medicine. What do you say to somebody who says, this is basically a new realm for me? Are you even certified? Are you not?
Right.
Let's start there.
So in New York State, midwives are licensed to be primary care providers. The goal of that is because not every woman has a primary care provider of their own. So that allows us to help provide them the care, because most women will seek contraceptive care and prenatal care during their childbearing years, and they'll skip the visit with their primary care physician because either it's hard to get in or they're not finding one that's a good fit. And we're able to provide the primary care that they're needing, and we're licensed to do that. So we're not replacing it, we're kind of augmenting the space that is hard to fill because there's not enough primary care providers in New York State.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. And I can see how, because there's a really big movement happening now where people are not trusting traditional medicine. And I think, right, your role now is to not, like, as you said, not replace it, but enhance and maybe do a better job. Let's go into a little nitty gritty on that. How exactly do you enhance that process for somebody who, let's say, is, potentially pregnant?
So we will do regular screenings as it's set out by the guidelines, right? So we follow evidence-based care, but we're also going to add an extra touch of actual care. Industrialized medicine is very cookie cutter, whereas we will actually meet our patients where they're at. We will take into consideration the fact that maybe they've got a history of PTSD and they have a difficulty getting an exam. We can allow them to have self-administered pap smears. We can allow them to have a room that's a little bit more comfortable. We can dimly light the room instead of having the fluorescence down in their face. So we'll use lamps, we'll use heated blankets and sheets and linens as opposed to paper that just feels really vulnerable and very exposing.
Wow. So it sounds like it's very one-to-one. And from my experience, which I saw through my wife, with the traditional medicine route, it was very, I would say, transactional is the word that I would describe it, where it was, we were just another number. Here, it's more one-to-one. It's more whatever needs that this specific patient has, you guys are there to kind of help with.
Right.
Right?
Yes. And also it's more personalized. If you call my number, you're going to get, hey, it's Amanda. What can I do to help you? And not welcome to X medical center, press 1 for this, press 2 for that. You're getting a little bit more attention, a little bit more focused care, and I'm meeting my patients where they're at.
There's a ton of skeptics out there, and I will raise my hand, as I too was a little bit, I guess, freaked out because I didn't really know everything about this. What do you say to the person who is either asking for some kinds of, qualifications from you guys? Like, how do we know that you're good at what you do?
The same way you would know anyone is good at what they do, their reputation precedes them a lot of times. So if you needed a reference, I'd absolutely have patients that would be happy to vouch for me. But also on New York State website, you can verify anyone's license, right? So my license is verifiable right on New York State as a licensed midwife. I'm also a registered nurse, and that I've been licensed since 2004.
So there is schooling, all that is checked off.
Yeah, I have a master's degree in nursing, and I'm licensed to prescribe medications. I'm licensed to be able to do births. I'm licensed to be able to do women's care.
Holy Hannah.
Yep. Oh.
I am hearing licenses, I'm hearing all the things that you do, and the next stop, besides it being, a little skeptical, all right, is ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Okay?
Money.
Right. What does something like this cost? Who's paying for this?
Right.
Is probably the next question that somebody's asking themselves.
So for GYN care, I am not in network with any insurance. I make it as affordable as possible by having an introductory offer as I'm opening this practice for $100 a visit right now. So patients can see me for $100. If they have out-of-network benefit, I will be happy to sign the paperwork and they can get reimbursed by their insurance. And that's totally taken care of.
Oh, okay. So hold on. So you're offering a $100 intro call?
Yeah, so they get a 1-hour intro visit with me for $100. I spend an hour with them going over their entire medical history, deciding what lab work might need to be done, including the time that we use for an exam. Spend some time together really digging into their health to try to find all of the aspects that they want to address in their wellness.
And then from there, if they wanted to continue to work with you, they can then apply with their insurance. What was that again?
So after the visit, I can give them a super bill and they can submit it to their insurance for reimbursement if they have out-of-network benefits.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. So let's go a little bit deeper here on exactly what it is that you offer. So we spoke a little bit, it sounds like midwifery. Is there anything else that this practice is going to be offering?
So I am a community birth provider, which means I do prenatal care and birth and postpartum care for my patients outside of a hospital setting. It's called community birthing. Patients can get my care. They can also have out-of-network benefits. They have a conversation with my biller. My biller gets a pre-authorization with their insurance, and then I'm able to provide their prenatal care, their birth, and their postpartum care for them to be able to have their birth.
During this transaction that a woman is pregnant, right? Well, not transaction, but during the whole process, I should say, something arises, you have the experience to take care and do whatever is necessary and prescribe whatever needs to be prescribed in order to get them to the finish line.
Right. So we can do their prenatal care. We also do in-house ultrasounds here in this building. I draw their lab work right here in this building. We do their birth, and then they have 6 weeks of postpartum care with me, which looks different than what most people are used to getting in a hospital setting.
100%. We've had 2 kids now, me and my wife, and one of them was through the traditional medicine, and it just felt like where we, once we were done, once she had the baby, they came in with the, with the insurance paperwork trying to get paid, and I just overwhelmed with emotions, and it just kind of slapped me in the face, and I was like, it was a bad experience. It left a really bad taste in my mouth with that, and that's why we started exploring different options. What was a better route? Can you explain just how different the post-care looks like?
So with my practice, I see patients 24 hours after the baby's born. I see them again between 3 and 5 days to help with breastfeeding because lactation changes at that point in time. I see them again at 1 week. At 1 week, they come back here to the office. So those 2 visits done before that are done in their home. And then at 1 week, they come here. At 2 weeks, they come here. Weeks 3, 4, and 5, we're going to be having breastfeeding circles. It's a community circle where women can come and get peer-to-peer support, and we're moderating it.
Pause. What?
Yes.
That's crazy because you're literally flipping it completely upside down.
Right.
And you've now, shockingly, have put the mother at the focal point of this whole thing.
Who knew?
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then they see me again at 6 weeks. We talk about contraceptive care if they need it. And then they're back to their well woman visits as they wish.
That's a game changer then.
That's my hope.
I selfishly look back and I think back like, it's really, the post-care, the baby's done. So it's like, how much care do you really need?
Right.
But I'm speaking from a man here. I don't know.
The biggest thing that I hear from women after they have their baby is they have a sense of isolation. So part of what I'm trying to help do with this practice is provide a sense of community, some support, peer-to-peer relationship, provider moderated so that they're not getting the old wives' tales as part of their experience. And this way they're being able to figure out how motherhood fits on them once they've earned that badge of motherhood.
Wow. You're basically filling the need of what is needed right now. You're filling that void in, which again, I don't know, right? But I've heard and I've seen, especially online and social media, these different stories from different moms about feeling alone, not knowing who to go, who to turn to. Amazing.
Right. Women across their lifespan go through huge changes, right? We have puberty, changes us hormonally from a girl to a woman, right? Then when we begin to have children, we change into a mother. So it's a new identity. Our friends change, our social circles change, our families change, the dynamics in our relationships change, and women don't have resources, and we're trying to help provide that.
I've never thought of it like that, but you're 100% right. Because parents are involved, they're a little bit, they see the transition between teenager, but when you're an adult and you do have a kid, you're almost left to your own devices.
Right.
And that's kind of messed up.
Right. You have friends who don't have children, so they don't know how to relate. Things just kind of change, and everything you know in your life is changing when you become a mom.
Okay, so I'm a mother. I am thinking about maybe going to hospitals. I've heard some scary stories. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I've been introduced to this. What's the first thing they do?
So if they're looking to get midwifery care, they give a call. I do an initial consult interview where we talk about their medical history, see if they're a good fit. They need to be low-risk candidates. Make sure that they're safe for out-of-hospital birth. We get a pre-authorization with their insurance. We work out the money part, and then we start scheduling prenatal care. I start seeing my patients right after they have a positive pregnancy test. They don't have to wait to 10 to 12 weeks to see me. So it's kind of nice also because people find out they're pregnant when they're 4 or 5 weeks pregnant.
Absolutely.
And then they're like, okay, now what do I do? And the doctor's like, oh yeah, I'll see you in 5 or 6 weeks. And It's like, where's the information? Women have a gap in the very beginning. They need to make sure they have good folic acid to ward off things like spina bifida and other risk factors, make sure they're getting the right prenatal vitamin, make sure their iron counts are correct. Let's start the health off at the beginning of the pregnancy before they've already finished the first trimester.
That would be huge.
Right.
More hands-on, more healthier pregnancies, more healthier births, more healthier babies. Right, why not try to nip it sooner?
Right.
Instead of waiting to
let's get on track right in the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking forward now, right? You're pretty well established here. What does the future look like for you? Are we talking more locations? Are we talking more clients? What does the future look like for you?
Right. So I'm working really hard on establishing collaborative relationships. I've been in contact with local hospitals to see if we can get some sort of relationship going with local hospitals, transfer agreements and whatnot for women who start to risk out and need a hospital care. So they can go from my setting to hospital care without a gap. I am also looking at finding relationships. We have an in-house ultrasound tech. I have a relationship with another midwifery group here, and we have an in-house family nurse practitioner that we're starting to form relationships with so that they can provide family health. So we're looking at establishing more relationships within this building and growing midwifery care to expand in the community birth setting.
You said something interesting where you're trying to figure out the connection between you and the hospitals. Do you see a lot of pushback from the hospitals? Like with you coming in and doing what you do?
I think I'm doing something in this area that's fairly new, right? There's not many practices that are operating like this. This is a small business. It's intimate. It's different. And they're trying to figure out how their industry fits with mine. And so we're working on that relationship. And
you need their permission? Like if something goes wrong here, you need them to give you the okay to send a client there?
No. So in New York State, EMTALA laws apply, which means they can transfer level of care from my care to their care without my permission. I'm looking to have a collaborative exchange of information so that it's friendlier, not me dropping a patient off at the ER and hoping they get great care. I want to be able to talk to the providers and make sure the transition is seamless for my patients. You want to do it the right way, where you're actually connecting with the doctor. It's communication by all parties, right, and you get to move along. Right. We're all part of a community health system. The hospitals are part of a community health system. I'm part of a community health system. Our patients are all functioning within that system. Why do we have to make it hard? That's a good point. That's a good point. You're 100% right. We should all be working collaboratively so that we can kind of provide the best service for the mother. There really should be no issue with that. We've got different forms getting to the same goal, but we do want to get to the same goal. Wow. So for people that are out there that, maybe they're thinking about getting pregnant, either they're maybe early stages or mid stages of the pregnancy, what's the first step like in order of, getting to know more about you and this whole process? Right. So initially I meet with my clients in person here at the facility, and we have an in-person meeting where we sit and we talk with their partner, hopefully, and it's a free consultation. And I go over all the nuances, finances, healthcare, what this looks like, what the safety concerns might be, and address all of that. So the initial consultation during pregnancy is for free. Then once we decide we're going to work together, then they go to my biller and they get pre-authorization with their insurance. And then we work with their insurance about the payment. So essentially, they can come here, get all the information that they need, and at the bare minimum, they'll walk out of here with knowing not only more about the business, but a decision on if to go with traditional medicine or with sticking with you. Right, because they need to be low risk to be able to fit into midwifery model of care here. So there is a model, there is a certain client that fits this. Right, this industry's here is focused on low-risk, healthy women having babies. I think a lot of women want this care, and partners are a little more skeptical. Partners focus on safety for their family. I mean, and I totally get that. That's their role, right?
100%.
So I want them to be able to walk in the door, see what care is provided, see what things are like here, look around and be like, yeah, this is a legit place. I'm totally comfortable with you getting care here.
I love that you said that because, again, yes, I saw myself thinking like that. And you're right, it's really just coming from safety. Is this the best situation for you? So bring them along and right, you can actually kind of...
Yeah, let him ask me any question he wants to ask.
There you go. I love that. Amanda, thank you so much for the time.
Yeah.
What you're building here is something special. You said it before. There is nothing like this in this area.
Right.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you.
We will see you guys at the next one.